Yes, yes, this is Mr. Controversy, and this is the infamous three-point conversion station. Keep it locked.
Beautiful Saturday morning. We are here live on the 3-Point Conversion Sports Lounge. And I'm your host, Mr. Controversy. Did you miss me? Man. I know all of you all are full. Still going back for 5th, 6th, 7th. Still eating that Thanksgiving dinner. You know how we do. But it's all good. Your belly can be full while you listening to the Sports Lounge. So we're going to give you a lot, man. We're going to give you a lot of substance. You know, maybe that can help you out. Because I know y'all been eating cakes, pies, and things like that. But it's going to be a great show, man. We have a lot to talk about. It's a big weekend. It's a big weekend in sports right now. So I know you, like I said, chilling with family or on the road. Either or, you can listen to the show. You all are good. And first, I want to hopefully everybody's safe. You know, we'll say that. And then I want to bring in my engineer, my homie, G. What up, G?
Yo.
G, how was your Thanksgiving?
It's pretty good. Just the normal getting with the family, eating the normal food. I mean, nothing, I wouldn't say it was nothing special, but it wasn't like we'd have to be extra with it.
Right. No, I hear that. This was an unorthodox Thanksgiving for me, just for the simple fact that I had to stay in town, you know, and so my family left and they went out of town. So when they left, you know, if y'all don't know, I'm a pescatarian, so I couldn't eat. I don't eat meat. You know, I eat seafood, but I don't eat meat or whatever. So, you know, with the dressing, usually it has meat in the dressing, greens and all that have meat in it. You know, so I couldn't really pick around it. So I was stuck with eating seafood macaroni and cheese. So I ate. Yeah,
that's an underrated. Dish.
It is.
Lobster mac and cheese.
Yeah, it is. It's good. It's real good. But again, it was so it was unorthodox. But I had a good time though. You know, I had fun though, man. But still, like I said, it's a big weekend, especially because this is rivalry week in college football. Man, Michigan, Ohio State, Auburn, Alabama, Oklahoma State. Who does Utah play? Utah plays who is it?
BYU, maybe?
No, it's not BYU. It's not anybody big. Like they should beat them. I can't remember. But I mean, the reason why I'm naming this is because just for the simple fact that these games mean something. You know, usually you have rivalry week that, you know, it's just the rivals. We all know Alabama's going to the playoffs. We all know maybe Ohio State goes. Michigan's not that good, Michigan or Ohio State is always good, but you know, stuff like that. But now everybody,
Colorado,
okay. Teams are in contention. It's close where if you lose, you may be out. Someone else comes in. I mean, Georgia State, they should be good because they play Georgia Tech. But you got a lot of interesting games that mean a lot to these college playoffs. So that's going to be big. Also, we're talking about this MVP race. Everybody seems to think that Lamar Jackson has run away with it. And it's still other people, other players that should be mentioned and might be leading. I don't know, you know, but we'll get into that. Then we got to talk about the Buffalo Bills, man. They're 9-3, G. People still not giving them respect.
Yeah, they're well, There might be a reason for that.
We're going to get into it. And then with Dallas Cowboys, we might be giving them too much respect. But they're talented, and they keep losing to quality teams. That's the bad part. We'll get into that. With basketball, this proposal that everyone's talking about as far as, hey, we want to shorten the games. We want to have a in-season tournament, mid-season tournament with all 30 teams. You know, we're tweaking the NBA playoff seeding. So we'll get into that. And then we got to talk about the Hawks. You know, that they lost their what is it, that ninth in a row? Ninth in a row?
Yeah, it's 8 or 9.
8 or 9. But they're playing hard. It's not like they're getting beat down every game. But we all know they don't have John Collins. They don't have Kevin Huerter. You know, a lot of players been hurt during this streak, but they're playing hard. They're still playing hard. So we're going to talk about them. And then these LA Lakers, man, they're, like I said earlier, they're like 101 right now. Like no one can, seem like they can't be beat, you know. But is this that, okay, the season's early. Some people saying they hadn't played anyone or it don't matter, you know. Usually you hear that when it comes to LeBron. I don't know why, but we'll talk about that also. And then we got quick hits, what's on our mind, so make sure you stay tuned. It's about to be a great show. It's time to get to these quick hits. Let's get it. Shout out to Sharon Beats for the sick beats. All right, so first off, this was bizarre. I'm going to tell you why. So Cardinals cornerback Josh Shaw has been suspended indefinitely, at least through 2020 season, for betting on NFL games on multiple occasions. Shaw has not played this season due to a shoulder injury. So I guess he's like, hey, I might as well, you know, I don't like I can't play myself in fantasy, so I might as well bet. But Shaw made headlines in 2014 while at USC when he said he suffered a high ankle sprain jumping from a second-story apartment to save his 7-year-old nephew. I remember that, who was struggling in the pool. Shawn later admitted to lying about the story and was suspended indefinitely by the school. So, after all of that, this joker is appealing.
Yeah, he's going to appeal the suspension.
Which everybody does.
He's saying, like, I didn't know the rules. I didn't understand the rules as far as betting on games. He used his he said he went to Vegas with his friends one weekend and placed a bet and didn't know that he couldn't do that. Basically, that's the excuse that he's using.
So that's like saying you got caught. You cheated, you lied about it, and you got caught. And then you came out and said, I cheated. Then, a few years later, somebody saw you mess with somebody else, and then you say, wait, I didn't know. I wasn't really talking to her. I thought she was family. Bro, you already lied on something big that was major. Now you come back and say, I didn't know. First of all, that's like the worst cop-out. I didn't know. It's not flying. So, like, come on, man. Stop it. Moving on. The Philadelphia Eagles and right tackle Lane Johnson have agreed to a 4-year contract extension that runs through 2025. The new deal is worth $72 million and includes over $54 million in guarantees, making Johnson the highest paid tackle in football. The crazy part is I think he's about to come back. He's been injured.
Right.
And you get a contract while you out? That's big. Do you think after a while that offensive linemen are going to take over running backs as far as making money?
Well, I think on average, offensive linemen can make more money than running backs.
Right. Already.
So hopefully the gap doesn't get too much bigger. But they already teams see the value of offensive linemen already.
Yeah, man, that's a big contract right there. Man, you got Le'Veon mad because he can't get $14 million. You know what I'm saying? And they give him this guy, which it makes sense because he's not only protecting the running back or blocking for the running back, he's protecting the quarterback. You know, and if you're protecting the quarterback that well, Yeah, you should
the Eagles definitely see his value. I mean, I think he was in that 2013 draft with where Eric Fisher was the number 1 pick. I think he was like the second or third pick.
Yeah, I remember Lane Johnson. Yeah,
yeah. So they see his value.
Wait, did he get picked up by Philadelphia?
Yeah, the Eagles drafted him.
Right, that's right. Fisher went to Kansas City. Yep. Moving on. Wow, man, this is bringing me back to my childhood. So the Arena Football League, founded in 1987, filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy and will cease operations. Quote, we simply weren't able to raise the capital necessary to grow the league, resolve the substantial legacy liabilities, and make it financially viable. League Commissioner Randall Bowe said in a statement, the league, and like I said, they had 18 teams in 2011, played the 2019 season with only 6 teams. This is from 1987. Yeah, it was time to go. 6 teams.
Yeah, like it's a hard sell. Like it went, in 2011 they had 18 teams. They had a video game. There was excitement around it.
Whoa, they had a video game.
Yeah, there was an Arena League football game. I think it was on a PS3.
What? I thought that was hot.
It was fun to play. I mean, it was a little like playing NBA, a little NBA Jam, a little bit Madden.
Right.
But it was, it looked like it would be a viable league for a long time. A lot of NFL players have come through there, most famously Kurt Warner.
Right.
So, but it's hard to sell because you would think that people will watch any football, but the Arena League it was just a hard sell to people because it didn't look like real football to some people. If you don't think it's real football, you're not going to watch it.
Right. No, I agree. I used to watch it though, like you said, when it was nothing else. I mean, it was like, hey, let's.
And it seemed like there'd be another option for players if you got cut from the NFL team, you can go to the Arena League. Michael Bishop, remember him?
Yeah.
Kansas State. He was the first player to rush for 100 yards in a game, but it was like 20 years after the league had started. So,
wow.
But a lot of players have gone through there, but it's just hard. It's hard to sell it, and people don't know the players, and the arena is like trying to make it viable or protect the players because you're playing on a 50-yard field, and there's a lot of injury protection, and I mean, it was just a mess that people wouldn't come to the games because if they have a real football team, if they have an NFL team in the city, why do you go to an Arena League game?
Right, makes sense. But yes, sad to see that go because, like you said, opportunities for other players. That was a way of getting in and showing that they can still play. So we have the XFL, but we'll see how that goes. Moving on. Bill Peters has resigned as the head coach of the Calgary Flames after a former player came forward and said the coach directed racial epithets. Am I saying that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Towards slurs, whatever.
Yeah, while they were in the minors 10 years ago. Akeem Alil said on Twitter on Monday night that Peters dropped the N-bomb several times towards me in the dressing room in my rookie year because he didn't like my choice of music. Wow. He played for Peters from 2009, 2010 in the Rockford Ice Hogs, with the Rockford Ice Hogs, the AHL affiliate of the Chicago Blackhawks. Peter wrote a letter of apology this week saying the comments were made in a moment of boy, he almost made me say it. Dog, come on, bro. I don't care if it was frustration or whatever. You ain't supposed to be saying that.
Yeah, he said that the quote was because Akeem Alou, he is black, he's Nigerian, right. And he was playing some rap music, and the coach was like, "Why are you playing that N-word bleep?" That was one thing he said, and apparently he used it on other occasions.
So I wonder what everybody did when he said that.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if even the other players in the team knew were they by themselves or what?
So, all right, I shouldn't speak violence. So, I know he's a coach. But we all know if we're in the streets and somebody say that, we know what that is. We open a can of, it's just what it is, right? So I wonder why he didn't, which I'm glad he didn't in a sense, because it would have made it worse, but he should have got beat down for that, dog.
I mean, if you were a player, you going to fight, you going to beat up your coach?
Yeah.
All right, well.
Hey, ask Latrell Sprewell.
And look what happened to him. Look what happened to him, though.
He got to the finals after that, though.
But he lost a whole season.
Move it. Oh, speaking of beat down, Conor McGregor returns to the octagon. McGregor will face Donald Cerrone on January 18th in Las Vegas. This will be McGregor's first fight since he lost to Khabib, and I'm not going to pronounce his name, in a lightweight title fight at UFC 229 on October 6, 2018. He hasn't won a fight since he beat Eddie Alvarez on November 12, 2016. So,
it seems like the UFC, they need Conor. They need that character, that villain,
right,
to make this work, because I think Khabib is still the I don't know who the champion is. I don't really follow UFC that closely to know all the weight classes and who's the champion, but I know that I'm a casual fan, so I know Conor McGregor, right? And to bring back those casual fans, you need someone like Conor McGregor to
well, it's his personality.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like he's wrestling now.
Yeah.
It's your personality outweighs what you do on the field. So that's like you said, that's why you need him. Last but not least, Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury rematch has been scheduled for February 22nd, but no site has been finalized. Both sides have said the fight will most likely take place at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. The previous bout on December 1st, 2018 was fought at the Staples Center in Los Angeles and ended in a controversial split draw. So that would be big, especially after this knockout. Man, I will say that Wilder looked good. People were saying he can't box, but I was impressed with his boxing skills. He was patient, had a plan, and stuck to it. It was almost like he was like Drago, like on Rocky. Remember, he was just sitting there and taking punches and moving, and then his coach was like, "Get him!" And next thing you know, he punched him, and that was it. So, but shout out to Wilder and Fury. That should be a great matchup. All right, that wraps up Quick Hits. We're going to take a quick break. About to get into some drama coming up after this break. Keep it locked.
Good morning. This is Greg Hurd with your sports news break. The Atlanta Falcons lost their rematch with the New Orleans Saints on Thanksgiving, 26-18. With the loss, the Falcons are officially eliminated from playoff contention. It's the weekend of clean old-fashioned hate as the Georgia Bulldogs visit Georgia Tech today at Bobby Dodd Stadium. The Bulldogs have won 15 of the last 20 meetings. Georgia State travels to Statesboro to face Georgia Southern today. A win would give the Panthers their most regular season wins in school history. The Atlanta Hawks lost a nail-biter 105-104 in overtime to the Indiana Pacers last night. Trae Young tied a career high with 49 points, including 8 three-pointers. The Hawks will be in action again tonight in Houston versus the Rockets. So for all of your major sports news and updates, just keep following us at The 3 Point Conversion on all of our social media. It's where fans' opinions matter.
Hey folks, Handsome Josh is here to reveal some big news to all the AM 1100 listeners.
I have an app.
That's right, you can now check out all your favorite programs right here on The Real with the Real 1100 app. Whether it's sports, entertainment, or lifestyle, the Real 1100 definitely has you covered.
So why don't you just tell me how much it's going to cost me?
And here's the best part. It's available in your Google Play or Apple App Store, and it's free to download.
Actually, you can count me in on this one.
So download the Real 1100 app today and stay in tune with The Real.
Yo, this is Champ Bailey, 2019 Pro Football Hall of Famer. I just want to give a shout out to my boys at 3 Point Conversion Radio. There it is.
Get ready From the oven to your ears, it's now time for the Hot Topic.
Yes, we are back inside the 3-Point Conversion Sports Lounge. And I'm your host, Mr. Controversy, here with my man, G. And this next segment, the Hot Topic, is brought to you by Cindycut's Barbershop, located on 3000 Chapel Hill Road, Suite 206, Douglasville, Georgia. Make sure you go by to get you a haircut. Or go in, man, just say what's up to the fellas. They don't mind that. Great barbershop, man. I always say all the time, everyone can cut. There's no empty chairs. Everybody have great attitudes. It's a cool place to be around, man. You get your butt whooped in chess, or you can beat Uncle Sean in chess. I mean, beat up on him. Usually people beat up on him, I think. But anyway, shout out to Dwayne Chambers. You go in, he's the barber all the way down on the left. Once you walk in, last barber on the left, and you can follow him on Instagram at Simha the Barber. That's SIMHATHEBARBER. So check him out. And I want to say what's up to the G up there. What's up, G? G real laid back and cool. So what's up, man? All right, so y'all, this MVP race, okay, NFL is going back and forth. It's funny because before last week we were talking, who was it? Was it Lamar Jackson, Russ, McCaffrey? Some people said Michael Thomas. Last week, Monday night, was it Sunday night? Monday night, Lamar Jackson put a show for the ages.
Yeah, Monday night.
Threw for 5 touchdowns.
Threw for 5.
Almost. He should have had 1 touchdown run. He stumbled at the end, but threw for 5. Ran for like 95 yards, something like that. Right. And beat up on the Rams. And Russ, the week before, that Sunday, only threw for 1 touchdown. It was like, low scoring game. So now, of course, everybody is up on Lamar. But what I want to do is I want to read some stats, first of all, just so you would know. Then we're going to go by the eye test and everything else. So this is what it is. Russell Wilson, he has 24 touchdown passes, right? 3 interceptions. He has 3 rushing touchdowns, and he's thrown for 2,937 yards. Lamar Jackson has 24 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions. That's still great for him, man. Like, you would think, coming from where he came from. But 2,427 yards passing, 6 rushing touchdowns, and 876 rushing yards. Wow. Christian McCaffrey, he has 1,123 yards rushing, 12 rushing touchdowns, 68 receptions, 586 yards receiving, and then 4 receiving touchdowns. So, G, when you hear this, and if you all want to call in, you can call in at 404-603-8770 to give your 3 cents. We want your 3 cents and tell me what you think about this. But, G, when you look at the numbers, what stands out?
What stands out really is, I think it's with Lamar Jackson, the rushing yards jump out at you from the quarterback position. If he's nearing 1,000 yards, that's only been done once by a quarterback ever, and that was Michael Vick. He's probably going to shatter that,
right.
If he just keeps up his normal pace. But I think also that the touchdown to interception ratio, 24-5, that's I think that's pretty good that he's also taking care of the ball. Mm-hmm. Normally a quarterback that's running a lot, they're turning the ball over too.
Right.
But not in his case.
Right.
I think that also with with McCaffrey, his usage rate, I guess, if you want to say, he's already passed 1,000 yards rushing, but he also has 68 receptions. So he is valuable as far as like, we're going to hand it to him, we're going to throw it to him. He's our best player. Let's get him the ball any way we can. So that's why he's in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the Lamar Jackson taking care of the ball and his rushing yards, and McCaffrey's just overall production is what jumps out at me.
Because, okay, so here's the thing. Before Monday night, I had Russ leading the league in, when it came to MVP. Because it's funny because you look at, so we're going to talk about them two first, then we'll get into the McCaffrey. So both quarterbacks are 9-2. Lamar has beaten the Seattle Seahawks. I'm not going to say Russell Wilson. He's beaten the Seattle Seahawks, right? Both of them have low interceptions. Russ only 3, Jackson 5. Both quarterbacks have no receivers. Like, what?
They don't have that. They don't have that superstar go-to guy. There's no Julio or Beckham or
I don't even think
Antonio
there's
Brown in their team.
They don't have. None of them have. Had, I guess, without Josh Gordon coming, had that receiver though that you said, I need a first down, or we just need a big play. Who can I? None. I mean, Snead, no. Like, Seattle is contingent on making Tyler Lockett a receiver. Tyler Lockett weighed about $140, 5'3", but they make him the number one receiver, and it's worked. We all know that Russ has always been that quarterback to make anybody look good. He's made Baldwin a decent receiver, but man, you look at it now with Lamar, he has nobody. He just has this young guy in Hollywood Brown. He has a tight end though in Mark Andrews, but still. So you look at that yardage, and I had Russ, but then you can't ignore what Lamar does with his feet. And for him to get 1,000 yards, that's you got to give that to him,
Well, I think that it's combined with that they're winning.
Right.
That's the key part, is that they're winning games this way. So that's why I would understand him being the front runner for it. Russell is still in the conversation because it seems like there's nothing else there consistent for Seattle offensively except for him.
Right.
DK Metcalf has played well as a rookie. They have a tight end, Hollister, who came out of nowhere and has made some big plays for them. But the only consistent person has been Russell Wilson. And as far as with the Ravens, I think everybody bought into this strategy for the Ravens because they're the number one offense, or top 5 at least.
Mm-hmm.
But I know they have the number one running game in the league.
Right.
So for everyone to buy in, we're going to run the football. We're going to hand it to Ingram. We're going to run power sweeps with Lamar Jackson, and that's going to set up the passing game for us. So everything is predicated on the run, and normally teams can't win that way anymore. We've seen teams kind of like get far, like Carolina was that way when Cam Newton won the MVP. So it's a similar year to Cam Newton, except the rushing yards are there are a lot more rushing yards for Jackson, but also the passing game it's not leaving something to be desired. Like they still are effective, but it's a run to set up the pass kind of offense.
So here's the thing with McCaffrey. Do you think it will ever be an MVP for another position over a quarterback when a quarterback is having a good season? Because, look, this man is doing great. You know what I'm saying? McCaffrey's numbers are sick. I mean, he possibly can have. He has basically 70 right now. He just needs 32 more. He can possibly have 100 catches. 100 catches, run over maybe 1,500 yards, have over 20 touchdowns. That could be probably the best season for a running back ever. Because we've seen LaDainian Tomlinson, remember the 1 year he had over 100 catches, he had 100,000 yards, but I don't know he had that touchdowns, he was leading in touchdowns like that. The year he had the most touchdowns, he didn't have that many catches. But to have somebody have maybe lead the league in touchdowns, then have over 100 catches, but yet still possibly lead the league in rushing, that's big, bro. It's not made, but it would get overshadowed because a quarterback has a good season. We all know. I always go back. I might be biased. This is my boy. But in 1997, Barry Sanders ran for 2,000 yards. He ran for 2,000 yards. 53 yards in the first 2 games, and then 2,000 in the last 14 games. And he was co-MVP with Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Who only threw for 37 touchdowns, 36 touchdowns, which was big back then, but still, you did something that at that time only 2 other players have done?
Well, also look at this. Like Barry was the co-MVP, but when Eric Dickerson has the record, he didn't win MVP.
Another one, yeah.
Chris Johnson's done it, didn't win MVP. I think Jamal Lewis did it.
Wait, when did Chris Johnson do it?
That was 2008, 2009.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Jamal Lewis wasn't even considered MVP
right.
at all.
And to me, that's a problem. It seems like if you're a non-quarterback, if a quarterback have 30 touchdowns, the quarterback's getting 9 for the MVP. And that's not right. I don't agree with that. That's not right. It's not cool. And somebody got to say something about that.
Well, it's a lot of people, it's hard to see someone other than the quarterback having that much of an effect on the game. Because if some people just look at it as if the running back is getting all these yards, that means the offensive line is good, but the quarterback is bad. So they're not going to win a lot of games. So it has to affect, if the Panthers, look at the Panthers record. Right now they're 5-6. Mm-hmm. If they were 9-2 like the Ravens and McCaffrey had the same numbers, then McCaffrey would get more notice.
Right.
So the running back getting all these yards doesn't always equal to the team winning. The only time that really wasn't effective, that really had the same effect, was when Terrell Davis rushed for 2,000 yards, and he won the MVP, and Denver ended up winning the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. I think they went 13-3.
Right. So
if the wins aren't there, then it's hard to look at another position.
That's
regardless of their stats.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point, man. So I don't know. Like I said, now in this race, I still think that right now Lamar is ahead of everyone. But there's 5 more games left, so we'll see what happens. Real quick, I just want to say before we go, you notice everybody likes to compare Lamar to Michael Vick. So people listening out there, Cindy Cuz Barbershop, y'all tell me and I'll be there later on. Y'all can discuss this with me. I think I did talk to, shout out to my man Frank. But doesn't he more so remind you of the way Kaepernick came in? Because think about it. When Kaepernick came in, we had never seen a quarterback come in that could run like that and yet still throw the ball like he was throwing. And Kaepernick was accurate, and he got him to the Super Bowl. But Lamar is more exotic. His agility. He has more agility than Kaepernick. But think about the way they play, their styles, and you had run calls, but not like they're doing with Lamar, like off tackle and sweeps. But Kaepernick was tearing up the league, and you think about that playoff game when he ran for like 180 some yards.
Isn't it the same offensive coordinator?
Yep. Yeah, I didn't think about that. But it's crazy but people try to compare him to Vic.
I think they look at the top end speed and see Vic. The offense is what was run with Kaepernick, and I think partly what was run with Tim Tebow. The difference between Lamar Jackson and Tebow is Lamar Jackson is a much better thrower of the ball.
Right, of course.
But I think the combination of what Kaepernick and Tebow had is what's brought in with Lamar Jackson.
Right. Yep. And Kaepernick could throw the ball back then. He was killing them. They got to the Super Bowl. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We will be right back for more sports action. Keep it locked.
What's up, world? This is Vincent J, aka the Fantasy Guru, and here are your fantasy facts heading to Week 13. New York Jets quarterback Sam Darnold comes in as a great play this week. He's been a beast over the past 3 weeks with an average of 29 fantasy points. His hot streak should continue on the road against the Cincinnati Bengals, who has allowed an average of over 23 fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks this season. One player who I'll bench this week is San Francisco 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. He's playing on the road against a very tough Baltimore Ravens defense who has shut down good quarterbacks such as Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson down to less than 18 fantasy points. My sleeper pick this week is Pittsburgh Steelers running back Benny Snell. Last week against the Cincinnati Bengals, Snell surprisingly took over the rushing duties and had 21 carries for 98 yards. With James Conner out again with a shoulder injury, Snell should continue to get plenty of carries at home against the Cleveland Browns. Now, if you want to check out more fantasy facts and my awes and ahs, make sure you continue to follow me on the web at the 3pointconversion.com.
Yo, you chilling with the 3-Point Conversion Sports Line. It's Chad Johnson.
We're back inside the 3-Point Conversion Sports Lounge. And like we talked about earlier today, big weekend, college football. Some people can't wait for this day. Rivalry week. Big games means a lot. These games will affect college football playoffs, and you have multiple ones, and they're good games. That's the thing. It's not just because they're rivalries. I mean, any rivalry, if it's a good rivalry, I don't care. Like with Alabama, Auburn is usually not they don't have a bad record. Like, both of them have good records. Alabama usually is on top. You have sometimes where both teams are like in a top 5 or top 10, but still. Both of these teams are good, playing well, and for Alabama, this is a must-win. For Ohio State, they're playing Michigan. I don't know, man. I know Ohio State will still play in the Big Ten championship, but if Michigan wins this game, I wonder what's going to happen with what the playoff committee would do. I'm going to leave it alone. We're going to get into that later. Let me get to my nosy neighbor watch. This is who I'm being nosy about. So, I don't know if you know, G, or listeners in America that, or in Africa, wherever y'all listening, that Florida State reached out to James Franklin. So, I've acted like everybody is left for Thanksgiving. I turn the lights off. Every light is off. And I'm peeking. I'm not even in the living room right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting in my car, and I'm looking across the street at James Franklin, see what he's about to do. Because you have Penn State. Penn State is this team that you've brought great success. He hadn't gotten over the hump, but you're almost there. You're getting there. I wonder if this might been there. I don't know. This is looking like one of their best seasons, if not his best season. But you got a chance to go to another program that has a lot of history, that's been known for winners. And we all know you get better talent at Florida State. He can anyway, because that's where they are. So I'm looking, man. I'm in my car looking, trying to see if James Franklin, or not even see if I'll say how he responds, because you already know they're gonna ask him. I want to know how he's gonna play it off. Are we gonna get, which we should? Hey, I'm focused about Penn State. If he says I'm focused about Penn State right now, he's going to Florida State. But if he says I'm the coach of Penn State, this is my team, whatever, then you never know. But if he says I'm focused on Penn State,
well, you can't. I mean, I think any response, you could read it as, oh, he leaving. Anything he says, he's like, oh, we're just focused on the next game.
Right.
He's leaving.
Right.
I'm the head coach of Penn State for now. Or if he says something like that, anything that any response you could read it that way.
Right.
That I would say that is the splash hire that Florida State needs.
Right.
If they're able to get him out of there.
Do you want him to go to Florida State? Honestly, I don't. Okay, I'm mixed. I don't, based on, I'm a Big Ten fan. I come from Big Ten country. But Penn State, you want them to do well. Now, for the players, nothing against the players there, but also what they did, they got lucky with Franklin, let's be honest.
Well, I mean, they saw what he did at Vanderbilt. So, if he goes to a school with more prestige,
mm-hmm.
he's going to get more from his players, get better recruits and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think Penn State I think this may turn into him getting a raise from Penn State, because I don't think they want him to leave. They want a coach that is going to be there for a long time. Like, they had Joe Paterno for 50 years,
right?
Something like that. They had Bill O'Brien for a couple years, but he's an NFL guy.
Mm-hmm.
Once the NFL called, he was going. James Franklin is a college football coach. He's going to that's where his bread is buttered, I guess you'd say.
Right.
So I think that he would, if Florida State is able to pull that off, then so be it. But I think that Penn State wants a guy who's going to be there for the long haul.
Yeah. So, but that'll be huge. That would turn everything around for the ACC. That would be big.
I mean, eventually someone has to challenge Clemson,
and I think ACC needs that,
because they're having the kind of run that Florida State was having maybe 10 years ago,
right? To
where they're competing for a national championship every year, and the ACC is just secondary.
Right. Yep. All right. So now, big game. Who do you think has the best chance of getting upset today, or losing? I'll say lose. I won't even say upset. Alabama or Ohio State?
I would say Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Only because I think Michigan has played much better the last few weeks. They're playing with more confidence. even though like Ohio State has been the big bad wolf for Michigan for a long time, but I think they're playing much better, and they'll be at home. But like I said this when Ohio State played Penn State has to start off fast to give themselves a chance. And Ohio State jumped out 14-0. I'm like, it's over. So Michigan has to find a way to get points on the board early,
right,
to stay in the game, because Ohio State can score in bunches.
Now, has Ohio State played a defense like this yet? And I think that's the key. Michigan's defense, just for the simple fact that they can get to the quarterback and commit pressure, bring pressure. He hadn't seen pressure like this. Now when they played, who was it? Was it Wisconsin? I think it was Wisconsin. It was different. They were bringing, because Wisconsin's defense is nice. They were bringing pressure, and he had to get used to it at first. He struggled a little bit, but I think Michigan's a better defensive team than Wisconsin. So how will Fields deal with this pressure? Because he hadn't had it all season like that.
Well, I think they have to. The way that you deal with a team that will blitz, or they can get pressure with 4, is to get the ball out of his hands quickly. As far as like just quick passes, and you can run the draw, try to get J.K. Dobbins in space. They might have to lean on Dobbins a little bit more, but I think that Ohio State has the talent on offense to win. It could be a high scoring game. I think Ohio State is going to score no matter what. But the thing is, Michigan has to score points.
Right. If it's a high scoring game, it goes to Ohio State.
Yeah.
I think what Michigan wants to do, they should do, slow this game down. And then this way, if you running the ball, Chase is equally effective against the run, but what's more damaging? You getting sacks and fumbles, or, run at him, I think. Now, when you go to the Alabama game is, when they play each other, it's always going to be a good game no matter what, who's winning. This reminds me of the New Orleans Saints, Atlanta Falcons rivalry. But this is the big game, the biggest game that Mac has played in.
Yeah.
And what will he do? Will he respond? So he had his warm-up game last week. We know that. But this game right here, I really believe Alabama, if they go through this game and they win this game easily, fine. But if they struggle and Max struggles, the reason why they didn't redshirt Tua's little brother is, what is his first name?
Talia.
The reason why is because I think they want to bring him in like they did Tua that year. And because remember, he was going to come in, not the SEC championship, but he was going to come in during the playoff game against Clemson. But they destroyed Clemson that game, so they didn't need him. And then the championship game, that's when they brought Tua in. I believe that's why they didn't redshirt him. So I don't know. I don't know, man. I think Auburn gets him.
I think that Auburn would have to. Their defense is good enough to get stops if they can get pressure on Jones. But again, Auburn is a team that I feel like struggles on offense at times. So they got to score points, and they're at home. So anything can happen. But hey, if it comes down to a field goal, you'd never know. You never know.
Well, all right, man. So we'll see big games. We didn't even mention Oklahoma State, but
you don't have to.
Yeah, but that. Shoot, the way Oklahoma been almost losing every week, you just never know. But I can't wait. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be like I said. You said Ohio State losing. I say Alabama losing. So we'll see. And if that happens, well, what will the committee do? Will Utah get in? Will Minnesota get in if they beat Wisconsin? It's gonna be a lot, man. So let's watch those games today, y'all, and we'll talk about it next week. All right, we'll be back to talk more of my man Holyfield's team, the Dallas Cowboys, and G's team as well, the Dallas Cowboys. Keep it locked.
Have a sports injury? Need to see an orthopedic doctor? Ortho Atlanta is one of Metro Atlanta's largest orthopedic and sports medicine practices, providing orthopedic and sports medicine care for the whole family. With 37 physicians and 14 offices, the practice provides the highest level of care for injury of muscles, joints, bones, and spine. Ortho Atlanta offers convenient access to a full range of musculoskeletal surgeons and specialists. Ortho Atlanta also offers on-site physical therapy, pain management care, MRI imaging, and workers' compensation care. The Ortho Atlanta surgery centers in Austell and Fayetteville provide cost-effective, same-day surgical procedures in an accredited outpatient center. Hip, knee, shoulder, back pain? Ortho Atlanta has you covered with specialists in all areas. Same-day appointments, orthopedic care for the whole family. Ortho Atlanta, Atlanta's choice for orthopedic and sports medicine care. Learn more at www.orthoatlanta.com.
I'm Maurice Jones-Drew of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the NFL Network, and you're listening to The 3-Point Conversion. The 3-Point Conversion. The 3-Point Conversion. The 3-Point Conversion.
All right, we are back inside the 3-Point Conversion Sports Lounge. All right. Last Thursday, this past Thursday, we saw the Chicago Bears struggle mightily against a third-string back who has never started a game. My beloved Chicago Bears, we do this every game. If you're playing us, put a backup in. Our defense struggles. We always, going back from Cap to whoever, we will struggle. I don't care if it's second, third, fourth. Hey, you can put your kicker in, Tom Tupa. We'll struggle. Whoever's at quarterback, we struggle. Our defense, we soft like that when it comes to that. But anyway, Mitch had a great game, responded, they won 24-20. The Saints, they went in, they stiff-armed Matt Ryan and the Atlanta Falcons to a victory. And then the Dallas Cowboys hosted the Buffalo Bills. They once again struggled against a good team. Now, this is a good team. It's a good team. It's okay, they struggle, but still, they're at home. We all know if you want to be successful in the league, you have to beat, and successful in the postseason, you have to beat good quality teams. Minnesota, they lost. New Orleans, with their backup, the first game, I think that might have been the first game with Bridgewater playing.
Yeah.
They lost. Buffalo, they lost. Who else? It was one more team, New England Patriots. But they didn't look well. They didn't look good. And that's the thing. Now, Minnesota, they look good. They just should have won that game. But against the Saints, the Saints, Patriots, and then Thursday against the Buffalo Bills, they lay an egg. And not as far as a 0, but they just laid an egg. What is it, G? People say it's the coach. But what is it? What do you see?
I think there's a lot of conservative play calling in certain situations, and it's kind of settling for things Like I think against the Patriots, they're settling for field goals, especially in the fourth quarter. You know, if you're down by a touchdown, 6-7 minutes left in the fourth quarter, it's not the time to settle for a field goal. So there were times where they should have been aggressive that they weren't. And against the Bills, I don't think that there'd been a lot of dealing with a running quarterback offensively, and then defensively. Well, I mean, like with the offense, I think there was again a lot of conservative play calling, and then with trying to be an aggressive, not good play calling. So,
right. Now you want to turn it on, it's not working. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's why if people want to criticize the coach, I'm kind of there with them, because there were times where I think better things could have been done to put some points on the board. And then with, not scoring in the red zone, those are killers.
So when I look at Dallas Cowboys, like they've gotten away from their identity. Now I know they're hurting on the offense. I know what's the tackle name?
Connor Williams.
Connor Williams, and then even with the he's been out. It's the tip of my tongue. Y'all best lineman.
Tyron Smith.
Yeah, Tyron. So I know he's been playing. He hasn't been 100%, but it's like they've gotten away from their bread and butter. Now, at times, like the bread and butter wasn't working as far as Ezekiel Elliott, but they've gotten away from it. They're throwing. I like Dak. Dak is doing his thing, but it's like Garrett or whoever's the offensive coordinator, like they don't know where to go. Like you got to have an identity.
Well, they're like Kellen Moore is the offensive coordinator, and it looked like Dallas was playing so well at the beginning of the season because it looked like things have opened up. They're throwing the balls being thrown down the field, but then at other times we wonder like, okay, did Jason Garrett just like take control of calling the plays, and now we're going to be conservative and we're running 3-yard outs with Jason Witten,
right,
which is the only route he can run, but that doesn't mean throw it to him every time.
Yeah,
it's just being conservative with the play calling at the wrong time is kind of what does Dallas in sometimes.
I don't think that Amari Cooper's healthy right now.
He's not.
Because it's a big difference from what he was beforehand to what he is now. And when Cooper's balling, of course that team goes, but it's like, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's the line or what, but now you just don't trust the running game. Like, it's not there. And you would think it would be there because they could throw the ball. But, again, maybe it's coaching. He came out where's Jerry? I don't know if Jerry's listening today, but I know Jerry Jones did say he's not going to fire Garrett.
Here's the thing, because my parents actually asked me about this the other day too, as far as would Jerry fire Garrett? Jerry's only going to fire Garrett if the person he wants is available. That person for a long time was Sean Payton, who is now not available. So depending on who that guy actually is, if he can't get the guy he wants, he's going to stay with Garrett. And somebody has to convince him otherwise. The only person would be his son, but I don't think his son can convince him to move on to somebody else.
Sad. Now, they played the Buffalo Bills. This team right here is 9-3. Do you think they're worthy of respect right now?
I think you have to respect them. Even though Baltimore did beat the Patriots, Buffalo did still play them pretty well.
They remember Patriots won off a punt return. That's what.
Yeah, they
that
won
was
off special teams
plays.
Yeah. So Buffalo was able to play well defensively against them, And I think their defense is what's winning games for them. But offensively, Josh Allen has taken a step forward. It's kind of still hard to believe in him because I still don't think he can throw the ball all that well, but there's another team that's able to run the football. He's able to run it, and they have a lot of speed on, especially at receiver.
See, I think he can throw the ball. I think it's the fact
he's not accurate.
They don't have.
He's got a strong arm. He's just not that accurate.
Right, but and then they don't have receivers like that. Like, this is another case, and we talked about it. We talked about why the black quarterbacks. Usually, it's the black quarterbacks that deal with this. But here's another case, also an exception, where you have a running quarterback and he has no receivers. I was about to say something. He has no receivers, but and they're winning though, and which is bad for him because it's like, why get your receivers? Why don't we pad our defense up or our line up? Because you can run the ball, but they're winning, man. And he's been the difference in running the ball, making big plays at the right time. This team is legit, G.
I think they have they have the things that they need to win games. It's just hard to believe in them because it's like they shouldn't be winning like this.
Right.
But hey, everything they're doing, it's been working so far.
All right, so yeah, we'll see what happens with them. I'm a believer of the Buffalo Bills now. You go to 3-point conversion Facebook page. Usually every that Wednesday, Thursday, we always get quotes from. We have shout out to Pat Freeman. He's a correspondent for the 3-point conversion as well, and he's always he's in a locker room for the Buffalo Bills, and he's getting the actual footage from them talking to Shaq Lawson and everybody else. So, like I said, we always have locker room interviews and everything. So go to the page and on the YouTube page, and you will find that. All right. So we're gonna take a quick break, and it is time for the Stop It segment. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, what's good? It's your boy Nate Burrows from the NFL Network and CBS. When the illest to do it. Hey, you listening to the 3-point conversion radio. Don't you go anywhere. It's lit. It's lit.
You are tuned into WWE AM 1100.
The opinions expressed during the sponsored programs on this station are strictly those of the program hosts, guests, and callers and are not necessarily those of Beasley Broadcast Group, this station, its staff, other advertisers, or agencies.
Big ups to our Sports Lounge crew for keeping the airwaves blazing each and every Saturday. But I want to send another special shout out to our team of writers at the 3-point conversion. You can visit us at the3pointconversion.com. You can also like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. How about the Gram? How about iHeart? How about Spreaker Radio? How about wherever you need it, baby? We got you covered. No mercy. Don't let up on him. Go hard on him, Mr. Controversy. Hit him with the stop it button.
All right, we are back inside the 3-point conversion sports lounge. It's the time we like to give our thanks to everyone who is supporting us, who is listening, who listens to us live or watching us live, who's always there. Like I said, giving us support for the 3-point conversion sports lounge. Also, we ask you to continue to support us and to support the 3-point conversion as a whole, the company in itself. and we definitely appreciate it. I also want to give a special shout out to someone right now is getting their haircut as we speak. This guy doesn't like social media highlights, but oh well, we had to do it anyway, man. So we want to say what's up to Q. What up, Q? Appreciate you, man, for listening, bruh, and being a loyal client sometimes. And we appreciate you. And Joker keep getting this arrow in his hair and his head, so like get that design, bruh. You get it one more time. I'm just messing with you. It ain't coming from me, Q, but I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for the support, man. Thanks for supporting the barbershop. So now it is time for the most infamous, the most famous Stop It segment. Let's get it.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
Yes. S-T-O-P, new word, I-T. Stop it.
Stop it. Get some help.
All right, G, it's on you.
All right, my stop it goes to Texas quarterback Sam Ehlinger. I'm trying to pull up the quote here that he made, but the Texas, I know it was a long time ago, but they won the Sugar Bowl last year, and he famously said, "Longhorn Nation, we're back," because they beat Georgia.
Right.
So this year, it has not been a good year for Texas by their standards. They are 7-5, and he said this year, Rome wasn't built in a day. If you had told Texas fans 3 years ago that we would have 7 wins and headed to a bowl game and had a chance to win 8, I think people would be pretty happy. Overall, we did a great job. Like they brought in your current coach to win a national championship. They recruited you to play quarterback, believe you could lead them to a national championship. 7 wins is unacceptable in Texas.
Right.
And it's disappointing to know that you don't realize that.
Right.
So I think on behalf of the state of Texas, would like to give Sam Ehlinger a stop it.
Stop it.
Yeah, Rome was built. Nah, bro, you said we back. Can't twist it up.
You said last year. You talking about we back.
Right.
Like, I think we did okay.
You can't
no,
do that.
No.
Right, that don't work. All right, so I might get a stopper for this, but I just thought this was crazy. It's sports, so consider sports. This should get a stopper just because it's considered sports. But anyway, so y'all know the National Dog Show, right? You know how they had and when you think of the National Dog Show, what do you think? Poodles, bulldogs.
Maybe a Chihuahua every now and then.
Bulldogs in there?
Yeah, they put every now and then is a bulldog that might win. Every now and then.
So 2019, a bulldog won. This little thing, the dog was probably the ugliest dog out there. Short, stubby. They said he was taller than his length, or he was longer than his. I think it was either way. I think it's the other way around, but. Well, all these poodles and everything, this bulldog won. How do a bulldog win with the poodles and
behavior, or maybe people feel sorry for it?
So
I don't know. If you say it's an ugly dog,
you see a bulldog. You know how they be prancing.
Yeah, was it doing that too?
Yeah. So whoever raised that bulldog, get a
stop it.
The bulldogs are not made for that, man. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? So that's crazy though. But real quick, I don't know if y'all heard Terrell Pryor just been stabbed. He's in critical condition because he was stabbed. So want to keep him in prayers. And then Missouri fired their head coach Barry Odom. So he had a 6-5 season. So, Ellis, you're talking about 7 games. You almost cost your coach his job. So, we're going to take a quick break. NBA is up next. This is about to be crazy. I can't believe we're about to talk about this coming up. Keep it locked.
Let me break down to y'all what's so dope about the three-point conversion. First of all, everybody is a fan of the game first. Second of all, everybody is a student of the game second. And third of all, we're the average sports fan just like everybody else. We're not coming in here, walking with our nose tipped high, acting snooty, acting brand new. This is a grassroots organization. Bar none. The three-point conversion, where fans' opinions matter. Be sure to visit the website www.the3pointconversion.com. Get your fix, get your articles, multimedia, and everything else that you, as a sports fan, need. So again, the3pointconversion.com. It's where it's at, man, where fans' opinions matter.
This is Mari Stoudemire, and you listen to 3 Point Conversion Radio.
All right, we are back inside the 3 Point Conversion Sports Lounge. Hey, man, real quick. We got to give props to Melo. A lot of people came up and said it won't work. It's not going to work. They talked about defense, which I don't know why, but it's not going to work. He's not good. He's this. He's ISO, but it's working. And it looks like he's having fun, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it looks like it's working. The key thing is that it's offense that Portland needed. They needed his offense, so that's why they brought him in. And
I mean, and the crazy thing is, I don't think he's all the way in rhythm yet, but he looks good. Like, I think to me, his footwork still looks a little choppy. It don't look as fluid as we know Carmelo to be, but it's more fluid than what we're, I guess, accustomed to seeing in the NBA right now. But posting up, and I mean, he just looked good, man, and he looked like he's having fun. That's the biggest thing. He's having fun, you know. So shout out to Melo. But I wonder if this is the reason why he came back. So they're talking about proposing the NBA. This has been this major talk about shortening the NBA season. Now, we've heard some rumors say it's only set to 78, which is not that bad. So if they did something like that, okay, but still shortening it, I haven't seen something like 55 games, whatever. And then they want to add an mid-season tournament in the middle of the season for all 30 teams. The speculation, this is for revenue and, I mean, you know, viewership. Just with that, G.
I don't understand what they're trying to accomplish here. I mean, if you're trying to increase revenue, I don't think this is the way to go. Because I think eventually, I mean, you're shortening. If you're shortening the season, you're doing it by 4 games. I don't think fans would even notice, really, and I don't think it'll make a big difference to the players as far as 4 games. If you're having an in-season tournament, then what if players get hurt during this tournament, and then they can't play in the playoffs that we would normally see? because that's
Right.
what teams are always gearing towards, and that's what they're concerned about. So I don't really agree with the with this proposal as far as an in-season tournament. I mean, it's a comparison to soccer. I guess soccer kind of does the same thing, or hockey does. I don't know, but I don't think it's necessary. But I understand if you're trying to get meaningful games or have some kind of meaning during the season. But I don't think this is. It doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't sound like it would work.
Because what would be the purpose of it? Like you mentioned, what if they get hurt in that?
Yeah, I mean, because what teams are always building towards is playing in late April, May, and June.
Right.
If you're trying to put a tournament together to play in January, then I feel like the NBA feels like that the regular season isn't being taken as seriously as maybe they thought it used to be. But I think the concern that the players have aren't with that the games aren't meaningful enough. It's that it's how it's scheduled. Like, teams are playing a lot of back-to-back games. Like, I said in the news break, the Hawks played in Indiana last night. They're playing in Houston tonight.
Right.
And then they're back home to play on Monday. So 3 games in 4 nights or playing 4 and 5 nights, the pace that the players are playing at when they're tired, that's when you can get hurt. So they tried to spread out the season by starting it 2 weeks earlier. That really hasn't made that. It's made a small difference, but even if they start the season early October, I know people don't watch the games until Christmas and because they're still watching football, but even to start it in October, beginning of October, then that could spread it out a little bit more, and so you don't have to have so many of these games being played in bunches where players are tired, they can get hurt, teams can lose a bunch of games in a row, and then there's all of a sudden out of the playoff race.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have to try to ramp it up to get back into it, to exert more energy. So I think just to give everyone a chance to play at a pace to where it's comfortable, if you're playing so many games, to play at a pace where everyone can get the proper rest and be prepared the way they need to be.
So I think it has something to do with load management. I think they're trying to prevent load management with these teams to keep, because I had an interesting conversation with shout out to D Intellectual, and we were talking, and Mark Jackson made a statement saying that he don't like load management and he believed that you should play no matter what. I don't care what unless you're hurt, you should be playing for the fans. And D said, I get that, but I don't agree with it because, sometimes when they are hurt and they're resting and I know it's a different era, but that's what, it's like your job. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be there. Now, you get PTOs, okay, but we don't get paid all this money to be playing like that. But just to say I'm not going to, and it's really not the players. I don't think if the players came to you and said, hey, can I take a rest, man? My knee is ailing or whatever. But the coaches are doing this to give, I hope is all coaches saying I need a rest.
Well, the coaches, part of it is, you're managing minutes. You want to, as part of the strategy of playing matchups and everything. And then the coaches consider the schedule too, as far as okay, we're coming on a back-to-back, or we played 3 games in 4 nights. Want to give our players a rest because we have this other cluster of games that we got to play that we need everybody. So I think the coaches consider it too. And you're working with, trainers and all those, whatever kind of staff that you have, that they have to consider everything long term.
But
to get players ready.
Okay, but it's ways of doing it as far as if it's a back-to-back and it's a blowout, you can rest. Or he don't have to play as much this game. You rest him a little bit more. Like I noticed with last night, the Hawks, we'll get into the Hawks later on, but more so, it was a game where, like you mentioned, they lost, I think it was 104. 104, sorry. And it went into overtime. Now, usually Lloyd won't play his team like that because if they're getting blown out, whatever, he'll take them out because he got a back-to-back the next game, which makes sense. And they were down by they were up, and then they got down by 7 or 8. But I noticed he kept the team in, and they battled back, and they took the lead and went to, overtime. But he kept playing them because he wanted that game. Now, of course, they will have to pay for it against Houston. Let's say if they start getting blown out, more than likely he's gonna rest them.
Well, yeah.
Or he can just, since they played an overtime game, why don't, with Trey, since this Trey is your guy, why don't we rest him 2 more minutes longer in the first half and in the second half as well? So he'll get 4 minutes of extra rest that he wouldn't normally get in this game. You could do it like that, but it shouldn't be where
they sit a whole game.
Right. And now that we got to shorten the season because of that. Now, if the players are complaining already, then, okay, you look into why you shorten the season. But it doesn't make sense when you say we're going to shorten the season, 4 games? Or whatever games you want to shorten it by, and then say we're going to have a mid-season tournament. What would be the significance of that?
It's to...
What do you win? What would it be for the fans? Because the main goal was the championship, so this is like a consolation prize. I mean, why is it a mid-season? What does that mean?
It's to add meaningful games before the playoffs start.
But I guess my point is, no, and I'm not arguing with you, but what would be meaningful about that, though? What would they get? What would the city get?
A trophy, a parade, something to brag about. Maybe you get you are automatically in the playoffs no matter what happens going forward.
If it's something like that, and that's where I'm getting to. Now, if you have it to where they get in because they're if you win, you automatically in the playoffs, or if you win, you automatically get a 2nd seed or a 3rd seed. You're locked 4 and up, no matter what. That makes sense. But then again, how would that help the Lakers when they have the best record? Or how would that help the Clippers? Now, it would help the Hawks if they won it. Right. So then you're going to have, are the Lakers going to be serious about this? Now, is this a time where you rest LeBron and AD and play, you know what I'm saying? Because you have the best record. So I don't see how that works. Also, speaking of playoffs, they're talking about reseeding the playoffs. I definitely want your opinion on this, man, because, all right, so they're talking about, first, I heard, this is crazy. They're saying that, so they're doing it, they do teams that are ranked 7th, 8th will play each other, and 9th and 10th will play each other. And then the winners of that tournament or playoff series, I guess it'll be a 3-game series or 1 game, I guess. And then they play, and whoever wins get the 7th and 8th spot, or whoever wins those automatically get 7th and 8th, and they just play for. Nah, bro. If you don't, you shouldn't get a chance to get in if you're 10th.
No, if you're in the 9th or 10th spot,
you shouldn't get in.
I mean, because it just, I don't know why we have to play with the simple math of it. Like, look, this team won more games, or they have a better winning percentage, or they had a better conference record.
Mm-hmm.
If this team has a better conference record, then, I mean, that should make the regular season meaningful. Just because you didn't make it at the very end doesn't mean you actually deserve another chance. I mean, unless there's some kind of tie. We see that in baseball a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There's a tie to where there's a one-game playoff. Unless something like that happens, we don't need this play-in game for the NBA.
So, and the second part of that is they're talking about when the two teams go to the, they win, they go to the conference finals. Instead of having an East-West, they're going to reseed in the top to bottom from the top 4 teams that made it.
Then what's the point of
having
the conference playoffs?
Yeah, that's the only thing I would say.
I mean, I think they're taking that from the WNBA, but how many WNBA teams are there?
Like 3. So
it's not a lot, but they seed 1 through 16 or 1 through 8, however, regardless of conference. If you're going to reseed, and I know hockey does it too, to where I think before they went to this new format, they were reseed after each round. Right. So it will be the top seed would play the bottom, the lowest seed, even though that would just favor the top seed every time if you're playing the lower seed every time.
Now, because Alan Fields, he's on 3-point conversion chat room and on the 3-point conversion page, he's saying that he thinks playoff teams should be seeded by record. Now, I don't know if he's saying for each conference like it is, or is he saying
some people
period?
propose 1 through 16 by record.
I'm not
from the beginning, not just do it in the conference finals. Do it from the beginning if you're going to do that.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. I'm cool with that if you do it 1 through 16 like that.
Yeah, I would be okay if you did it at the beginning, not just the conference finals. That doesn't make any sense.
But at the same time, though, here's the thing. I'm cool with that. But so for the Eastern Conference, the Eastern Conference is better. But he's saying by each conference, I guess how it is normally. But my thing is, if actually it's not, because we've seen where the third seed had a better record than the second seed.
Well, it was seeded by if you won your division,
right?
You are one of the top. Well, they got 3 divisions,
mm-hmm.
So you're one of the top 3 seeds if you win the division,
right? So you shouldn't be penalized if you have a better record than them. So I'm with that because I proposed that before. I've said that before. But I guess what I'm saying now is if you do 1 through 16 and you have the best record, I used to always call it back then with Cleveland. Cleveland's record was because they ain't had nobody to play in the East.
Yeah, when they won 60 games or whatever. Yeah.
Right now we know the West is better than the East still. I mean, I guess it'll show because, cream rise to the top, but let's keep it where it is, man. But if we do 1 through 16, I'm fine with that. I'm not lying. I would be cool with that.
I was like, if you're going to shorten the regular season, shorten it to 70 games.
Right.
I mean, the 4, I don't think that's a big deal. But if you shorten it by 12 games, 15 games, then I think that would go a longer way.
Right. And I'll say this before we go. I've always said this before. I think they should they should just redo the divisions and conferences. Memphis should be playing
in the East,
in the South. It should just be South. It should be like the NFL. Each conference has a South, East, West, and North. So, because I can see in the South. So and it don't have to be Western, North. It could be Eastern, It
So if they did it like baseball,
I mean, it could
or the NFL,
right. It could be AFC, like national.
Yeah, have a national and an American conference.
Because think about it, Memphis, because just your South teams will be Memphis, Miami, Atlanta,
Orlando,
Charlotte,
New Orleans, and maybe Washington, if depending.
I wouldn't say I would say Dallas. I would say Houston. Houston is South because Houston's, Then you got for the East. Well, not East, but yeah, for the Eastern Conference, you got New York, Knicks, Brooklyn Nets. I will put Washington right there. Washington. I would put who else is in the East? East, like who would you say is kind of?
If it was like from a Northeast or have a North, I mean, yeah, you'd be looking at the Knicks, Nets, Celtics, 76ers.
Yeah, Boston Celtics, 76ers. Well, I forgot them. Yeah. So you got them teams. Then if you want to do Central, you can call it Central.
Cleveland,
Indiana,
Chicago, Detroit,
Indiana, Detroit,
Minnesota.
Then you can put Dallas in that because they kind of, and then the West. I mean, not West. Then you have the West. You have Portland, LA, both LA teams, Golden State, Sacramento, Utah, Phoenix, and they could be, but they'll be split up in the National League and American League or whatever, however you want to call it. But it'll be where you got Memphis in the West, but they got to travel and play Portland because they're in the West, they're in the conference. Everybody they play, I don't like that. I know they try to change it up with Dallas, Houston, Memphis, but I just think they should redo it. That way it'll make sense. And it'd be like the NFL, So I think that'll help as well. But all right, that's what we think. But we have more basketball to talk about because now we're about to talk about these LA Lakers. And that Trae Young, something else. We'll be back.
Have a sports injury? Need to see an orthopedic doctor? Ortho Atlanta is one of Metro Atlanta's largest orthopedic and sports medicine practices, providing orthopedic and sports medicine care for the whole family. With 37 physicians and 14 offices, the practice provides the highest level of care for injury of muscles, joints, bones, and spine. Ortho Atlanta offers convenient access to a full range of musculoskeletal surgeons and specialists. Ortho Atlanta also offers on-site physical therapy, pain management care, MRI imaging, and workers' compensation care. The Ortho Atlanta surgery centers in Austell and Fayetteville provide cost-effective, same-day surgical procedures in an accredited outpatient center. Hip, knee, shoulder, back pain? Ortho Atlanta has you covered with specialists in all areas. Same-day appointments, orthopedic care for the whole family. Ortho Atlanta, Atlanta's choice for orthopedic and sports medicine care. Learn more at www.orthoatlanta.com.
Hi, this is Jabari Parker of the Atlanta Hawks, and make sure y'all check out the 3-point conversion.
All right, we're back inside the 3-point conversion sports lounge. So last night, I don't know if y'all saw the first Luka had 37 and 11 last night.
Oh, he had 42.
Oh, he had 40. He did score 42. I was watching to the end. 42, you're right. 42 and 11. And then Trae Young earlier scored 49 and had 8 3-pointers. Dwayne Wade tweeted out last night, what's going on with these young players? How did they get so good? He's like, it used to be where the vets played and then the young players had to learn from them. But we see this team though, man, and the Hawks, the Atlanta Hawks, they're losing. But like I said earlier, it's not like they're getting beat down like that. You know, they're competing, but they are missing a lot of people. They're missing Kevin Huerter. He's missed a considerable amount of games. We all know what's going on with John Collins. He's serving this 25-game suspension. I don't know if he's on game, 10 or something like that? I don't know. But so he won't be back till about January, I think. Close to January.
No, it'll be, I think, like right before Christmas.
Right before Christmas? Yeah. Okay. So, but they play hard, the Hawks. They look good at times, and you see it when they struggle. Of course, when Trey goes to the bench. But one player that has stepped up is Jabari Parker. He was my Sixth Man of the Year candidate before the season started. G, when you look at Jabari Parker, do you have the feeling that he's now healthy?
For the most part, he is. But I think he's been healthy for at least the last 2 years. But I think now the thing that's key for him is that he's actually able to get comfortable in a way somewhere. Going back home to Chicago it turned out not to be the best idea. Mm-hmm. But I think that might have just been a clash with the coaching staff. And then with Washington, they're still a mess. They've been a mess for a long time, so that wasn't a good situation for him. So coming to Atlanta, where the expectation was he's going to come off the bench and provide some scoring, I think that was a role that kind of fit him at the time. But now that he's coming to the starting lineup, I think he's just come in being able to play his game, and it's something that they kind of need. Just like we're talking about with Carmelo, they kind of need his offense in Portland. Atlanta needs his offense, especially when Trey's not on the floor.
And he's playing to that point where it reminds me of when he came out of Duke. This is what we thought we would see. And we saw it a little bit in Milwaukee when he averaged 20 a game.
Yeah.
But the way he's playing now, the rebound and that relentless, he's being relentless to the basket. He's getting the ball in rhythm. I think that's the bigger key. Playing with a Trae Young, now you don't have to do so much because Trae Young gets you in a spot to where you do one or two dribbles and then you're in a scoring position. Where in Chicago, he didn't get that. Washington, he definitely didn't get that because Wall wasn't there. And we saw him injured in Milwaukee. But now you have that point guard and you have that coach that trusts you and say, Jabari, whatever you want to go ahead. We just need you scoring. Like you said, just go out and score. Now he's doing it. And because he's doing it, he's playing with more energy. He had a horrible game last night. I mean, he was just off.
Yeah.
But
I think the game before he had like 33.
Yeah, Milwaukee, and to see him do like a windmill dunk, like the player stopped, but he did a windmill dunk. Like, when have you seen Jabari do a windmill dunk since he came in the NBA? So he's having fun, rebounds. Do you think this team, when they get everything back, it might be too far gone, but can they make a push? Are they good enough, or do you say, well, they're still not there?
They may not quite be there. I mean, unless they make some kind of move. But that's probably not in the plans to make a move for another player to make a playoff push. Not only is Collins is out, but also
Kevin
Huerter being out as well. But the players that they kind of expect to play, we kind of know. It kind of looks like what the reason why they're there isn't necessarily to play and help make a playoff push. It's more for their contracts to come off the books. Mm-hmm. That's Parsons, that's Crabbe, that's Evan Turner. And they're not playing all that much.
Yeah, because Parsons played
I think he's played one game.
Yeah.
Maybe two.
I don't know if that was just in the contract just to let him play 2 games and, you good after that. But Crabbe has been playing as of late. He's been coming off the bench. They've been trying to look to him as that scorer off the bench because Jabari's not there. But, man, like I said, if once you bring Collins back, you have that guy in the paint that has that connection with Trey, but he's able to score. He's not like a great scorer, but he's still able to score. That takes a lot off my man. Damon Jones? He's still trying to figure his way out. It takes a lot off of Fernando, the rookie. So, and then when Kevin comes back, you have another person that can score, that knows the game. There's he's second year, but he's more knowledgeable than DeAndre, not Bembry, but DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish. So you got somebody who can score, create plays, score for himself. So I think once that happens, then they'll be good. Now, a team that's good that I like, and I said it, yeah, people jumped on me. The Lakers. I think the Lakers are back. What is it that you see that with the Lakers that makes them legit?
Well, for one, they are they're playing defense. Mm-hmm. Having a guy like Vogel, they're gonna come in, they're gonna defend, and even if it's not perfect, but it's working. There is effort there. They're on a 10-game win streak. They're on their best 19-game start ever at 17-2. I think LeBron has he has played well as far as I think the balance has been found as far as him scoring and making plays for others, because I think he still leads the league in assists now.
Yeah.
And the scoring is going to be there. And playing through Anthony Davis, things have just opened up for him. There's still a wonder if they're how long this will, if they can keep it up, be consistent. I mean, they've been consistent so far, but I guess the concern is, will they be able to defend when they need to? Because they've beaten up on teams that they, I guess you could say that they should beat. Mm-hmm. They played the Suns, the Warriors, Kings, Hawks. They beat the Thunder twice, the Grizzlies. I mean, these are teams they were just better than. So they have beaten those teams, the games they should win. And they have done it. They haven't let the games. These are games that they probably may have lost last year, the same, to these same teams. So I think they're playing better defensively. And they're more talented than the teams they've been playing.
But look, we've seen Clippers lose games. Clippers just lost. What team did they lose to? Was it Memphis? Some team they should have beaten, and they lost.
They lost to the Spurs.
They lost to the Spurs. Yeah, that was last night. I thought I was watching the ESPN Classics or something. And I watched it wait, what? But you have to give them credit for that. But then too, they know how to win. They're in them games where they're beating these teams, it's close. They're close games. But what they do have is they do have closers that and people that's making plays in the end defensively. They have a lot of smart players. That's why I said this is the best team LeBron has been on, because you have people around him that fit him, and the system fits. And they're letting the power forward. And I don't think that was LeBron's choice to make Chris Bosh stand out here or to make Kevin Love just a 3-point shooter. I think that was coach's. But Frank Vogel has given them, all right, this is what we're doing. We're going to play Davis in the post. And it's working.
Well, I think that's the thing. Like, there wasn't. It was hard to like have a player like LeBron, but also play with a post player. That's what I thought he couldn't do, or coaches didn't want to try it.
Because I said it too. Yeah.
For LeBron to play with a post player, but like, if Anthony Davis is going to be the guy, then we have to let him do what he does best. We're not going to make him change his game to fit LeBron. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened with Bosh and Love. They had to change their games to fit with LeBron. Right. But I think they switched it to where LeBron has to – I don't think he's necessarily had to change his game, but we have to use what Anthony Davis can do best.
Mm-hmm. And I'll leave it at this. No, I'm not on the. You know, I'm gonna say that for what's on my mind. We're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back. Y'all need to stay tuned for this because I'm gonna shock y'all. We'll be right back.
Have you been looking for a radio station that gives you sports?
I don't believe it! It's a touchdown!
Entertainment?
Are you not entertained?
And other special interest talk shows?
Well, isn't that special?
All on one app?
Yo, that's dope. What app is that?
It's the Real 1100 AM app for WWE. Grab it for free in your Google Play or Apple App Store today.
Happy Saturday, sports fans. It's your boy Sherm, a.k.a. the Lord of the Beats, and you are currently inside the 3 Point Conversion Sports Lounge with my man's Mr. Controversy, D Intellectual, and of course my dog G behind the boards. Cheers to the freaking weekend.
All right, we are back inside the 3 Point Conversion Sports Lounge. This is What's on My Mind. And, you know, G come with those crazy stories. See what he has today. Go ahead, G.
You mean, is this really happening?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. What's really happening? I'm already got I'm excited about what's on my mind, y'all. My bad. Y'all just going to be shocked. Go ahead.
All right, so just one story to share with you guys today, but I felt that it's sports related, it's appropriate, and I thought it was very interesting. So there's this series that's been going on Bleacher Report called Untold Stories, and it's these players will tell stories about, just interesting stories about what's happened, things that happened to them during their career. And one story I saw that Santana Moss, 14-year NFL receiver, played for the Washington football team. And during a game in 2007, he had a heel injury and he didn't think that he could play. But it was a big game against Dallas, and the owner of the team, Daniel Snyder, came into the locker room and asked if he was going to play. And Moss told Snyder that he once played lights out in a game, which means he took Vicodin and a Toradol, both painkillers, and he played in that game. And Snyder said, well, we need to do that. So he wants him to take painkillers.
Wow.
And Moss also said that sometimes players would take a shot of Hennessy before games, referred to them as Henny games.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he felt before this particular game against Dallas that he was in so much pain that he needed more to dull the pain. So he filled a Gatorade bottle halfway with Hennessy and drank that. And that wore off after the warm-ups. So then he took the Toradol and Vicodin.
Oh, man.
And in that game, he ended up catching 9 passes for 121 yards and a touchdown. So I want to know, what do you think of that, to where, like, what players go through, especially NFL players, to go through just to play in a game?
Yeah, that's crazy. So I wanted, so the Vicodin, so he was gone. I know sports players, they get some different type of medicine, but was this the type of, like, we take Vicodin, we knocked out?
Yeah.
Man. So I wonder how he was juiced up to play, though. Like, what?
Well, I mean, like, the idea is to dull the pain, right? And I think for a guy like him, or the guys who are in, like, the tip-top physical condition, alcohol just, it dulls the pain. It doesn't, like, make you tired or sleepy or anything. It just gives you a different.
Especially if you're not doing anything. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm the type, if I'm drinking and I'm out, the next thing you know, you probably think I'm I think I'm like Usher Raymond or MC Hammer or somebody combined and dance all night and be. So I guess that makes sense. It makes sense. But the Vicodin, though, that's when I'm like.
Yeah, to combine all of that and then along with the painkillers, like, to me, like, alcohol and painkillers are a terrible mix, like, all the time. Mm-hmm. But if that's what he had to go through, like, I guess you build up a tolerance or whatever with the painkillers to be ready to play. But as far as, like, the Hennessy helping you to play in a game before doing physical activity, that's the part that's crazy to me, is that that's how far he had to go, just to be ready to play. And I'm sure players had to do even more than that.
Okay, so I'll make a confession and we're going to go to what's on my mind. So, believe it or not, y'all see me here. I'm talking in front of the radio. Well, it's radio, but we're on live. People see me, what have you, do my interviews, games. It's crazy that I was doing it, because beforehand, I used to hate being the center of attention or being in front of people talking. I could not do it. I would get nervous. My voice would be shaking. Paper would be shaking. Like, visual. It would be visibly. It was visual. I mean, like, you saw it. It was visible. You know what I'm saying? Everybody like, dang, dude, that's how bad it was. So one day for class, I had to do this speech in college. I was so nervous. I had to get up and talk. So I took a shot of Hennessy before I went up there to calm my nerves, and got up there because the teacher was like, you can't say or nothing like that. Took a shot of Hennessy, got up there, and was like, the first words, like, man. But I got through it. My nerves was calm a little bit, So, hey, I understand it. That's all I'm saying. I just took a shot. I wasn't drunk. I took it, So I think I was on a bus then too. So I wasn't driving people. But anyway. All right. So this, what's on my mind, I'm going to make it quick. We were talking about the Lakers, and we were talking about how they're winning now. They're winning games. AD is playing well. LeBron James is playing well. Y'all know that I've not been a fan of LeBron James throughout his career, mainly because he's been our nemesis in Cleveland. The first thing, I didn't really care, whatever. Just wasn't a big fan, but I knew he was nice. You know what I'm saying? But when he got to Miami. And then there was certain parts of his game I just didn't like. I thought he could be better. I've always said that. People have been labeling me as a LeBron hater. But he was a rival. Miami. I was the Bulls. We were supposed to be on our way, and he was always in the way. When he got back to Cleveland, he was in our way. So I always was rooting against LeBron, but I always critiqued his game based on just basketball knowledge, whatever. That's being real. I don't care what y'all say. Y'all can't take that away from me. But LeBron James, of what you see now and see how he's playing and what he's doing, his longevity, this man could possibly be, well, he's top 3 in my book. And look at the way he's controlling the game now. He switched his game. They asked him to play point guard. He's doing that, and he's successful, and they're winning. They have AD. It's not like they have a great team. It's not like they have a bunch of superstars like you would normally know. They have a very good team. And he's being successful at that, making plays for others. He's always been able to do that. But at this capacity and the way he's doing it, and the way they're allowing him to do it, scoring when he needs to, plays in the post when they need to. Sometimes he still don't take advantage of smaller players, but still driving to the hole, jump shots. He's not settling for threes a lot now. And what he's done, what he's doing now, and he's played in different eras, and what he's done in the past, this dude might be the second best player that ever played NBA. I know you got Kareem. People will say Kareem. You got Kobe. You got this and that. Kobe was a killer. Kobe's one of my favorite players. But LeBron, when it's game time, and when you need him, he's always going to step up, show out, give you what you need. And I really believe how he was coached, that was because the coaches wanted to play him like that because he was so good. Let's put him here. Let's put him there. But to see him play a role, he's playing that role now, and he's fitting that role. Maybe he was playing that role before, but might be the second. Where Big Google at? Might be the second best player that's ever played in the NBA behind Jordan. And that's what's on my mind. Maybe I took some hinting before I got here. All right, so when you hear this music, you already know what it means. It means it is time to let you go. But before we let you go, I have a couple of shout-outs. And stay tuned because you might be one of the shout-outs. First, I want to give a shout-out to the Almighty God for giving me this platform, to give me, allow me to do what I do, say what I say, make you all upset, mad, want to give me the stop it button. Man, this is a dream come true. I appreciate it. I definitely want to give a shout out. Like I said, the Cowboys aren't playing well. The fact that Jerry Jones is loyal, I want to shout Jerry Jones for being loyal to the Cowboys.
Thank you, Raphael.
You're welcome, Jerry. Also, I want to thank G, my engineer, for being there. This man does a lot. Y'all don't know what he does behind the scenes. I hadn't got a whooping today. Usually G gives us whoopings during the show. But appreciate you, bro, from the heart. Also, I want to thank everybody who's listening live. Appreciate my sponsors, Syndicate's Barbershop, Ortho Atlanta. Shout out to Dr. Donnie Fowler. Quite interesting that he didn't show up the week that Duke got upset by Quick Trip. So
Quick Trip State, Quick Trip Tech,
Quick Trip State. That's funny. He didn't show up when they got upset by Quick Trip State. But either or, we like to thank him anyway. I want to thank my family and friends, my beautiful wife, my children, aunties and uncles, nieces, nephews, cousins, sisters, brothers, grandparents, and hey, love family, let family know that you love them while they're still alive. Eat good. Continue to eat good. Be safe this weekend. Watch some football. Watch sports. Until next week, same time, same show, same crazy host, same sports nonsense. Will you miss me? I'm out. Peace. You just got done listening to the 3-Point Conversion Sports Lounge. Be sure to follow us on our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook accounts at the 3-Point Conversion. And also make sure you check out our website, the3pointconversion.com. Be sure to follow us live and listen every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern.
Stop it.
No, Daddy, no!